Long ago, as the perpetual darkness shrouded the Obsidian Isles and whispers of ancient evils echoed through Elderach, a lone figure emerged from the shadows with a vision of unity and protection. Known only as the Drifter, this enigmatic figure rallied a group of skilled and battle-hardened warriors to create a brotherhood unlike any other, the Ashen Hounds. The origins of the Drifter remain shrouded in mystery, with rumors suggesting he may be an immortal being or a cursed soul seeking redemption. Regardless of his true nature, his mastery over the arcane arts garnered the loyalty of those who joined his cause. The Ashen Hounds' reputation swiftly spread, and their unique approach to mercenary work set them apart. Although they primarily chase coin and fame, many of its members, including the Drifter himself, have stepped up to defend the defenseless and confront the dark horrors that lurked in the shadows. They sought to stem the malevolent tide that threatened to engulf the Obsidian Isles. As the guild roster grew, they established their headquarters within Elderach, a city where corruption festered and wickedness lurked behind every corner. The Ashen Hounds found a fitting home amidst the gloomy alleys and brooding spires, vowing to be the beacon of hope in a realm steeped in darkness, provided they would be paid. Over time, the guild gained the respect and gratitude of the city's inhabitants, even as they continued to face unrelenting challenges. They unearthed long-forgotten artifacts, guarded secrets that could plunge the world into chaos, and confronted malevolent beings that have not been seen for centuries. However, with every victory came a sacrifice, for the members of the Ashen Hounds carried heavy burdens. They were tormented by the nightmares, haunted by the atrocities that they had witnessed, and burdened with the knowledge that their work would never truly end. Yet they pressed on, bound together by their shared purpose and unbreakable camaraderie forged through blood in the Shadowdark. The Ashen Hound's symbol, a shield adorned with multiple hounds, became not only a reassuring sign of protection for the people, but also an emblem of unwavering unity and determination to hunt in packs, fearlessly sniffing out monsters and hidden treasure that await within the dark. And so the newly created mercenary guild known as the Ashen Hounds stood as a testament to the resilience of mortals, an eternal shield against the encroaching darkness, and a force to be reckoned with in the unforgiving world, and most of all, a home to those who are brave enough to dive into the dark corners of the world to seek power, treasure, and fame.
The four of you begin in a meeting hall with the Ashen Hounds headquarters. Sitting around a large oak table, the walls filled with paintings of famous heroes known throughout history, you recently signed on to become guild members, each with your own personal reasons for doing so. You were informed to wait here until the guildmaster arrives to give you orientation. You look around at the unique individuals sitting at the table whom you have never met. So, starting from the top, John, if you'd like to go ahead and describe your character and maybe any obvious personality traits that might be displayed as you wait around this oak table.
Okay, look at my sheet here. Zale is clearly a full elf, so I don't know why I was going to say half elf. An elven ranger. Some signs on his clothing, he has some of his little knickknacks imply that maybe he spent time on a ship, like the garb, what you would normally wear if you were like a sailor. It's a mix between like a ranger and a sailor is his clothes. He has a longbow by his side. Besides that, it's not much stands out about his actual appearance itself. His demeanor, just by on first glance, he looks to be observant, like he's taking everything in, but quiet.
Okay, and next we'll go with Krug. Okay.
Krug is a half-orc. He sits across the table with a very stern look on his face almost constantly. He's got scars and nicks all over his body. Right now, he's not really wearing much in the way of armor. The only thing he really carries with him is his rusted battle axe, but he carries everywhere with him. From outside looking in, you would say he looks like a hardened street criminal. Stern exterior, but the people around the guild hall would know that he's very abrasive to talk to, and he lives by a very strict code, but don't cross him.
Okay. And up next we have... Here we go. Seeker Barristan Banestone.
So when you see Barristan, he's an older dwarf. His hair and beard very neatly kept. However, what was once black is now mostly gray, with just a few thinning streaks of black in the beard and hair. Some parts of the side of his hair and his beard are decorated with brass rings. He wears a hooded cowl over armor. Most of his aesthetic color scheme are like dark browns, blacks, blues, and just lined with gold. And in the little time that you've known him, he has a very curious nature, but is very cryptic when it comes to information regarding himself.
Nice. And let me just get the next one up. We have Acolyte Thorin Rosebeard.
So, like his name suggests, his beard is fiery red. He's a younger dwarf than my companion. What you would notice about him is everything is very well put together. His armor is shined up. His leather is polished. Everything is where it's supposed to go. His hair is back in a perfect braid. His beard is in a perfect braid, not a hair out of place. He always looks like the picture-perfect, paladin-esque dwarf before battle. All he would need is a light shining out of the ceiling over him, and that's, your storybook paladin type.
Nice. So moments go by while four of you patiently wait. The Guildmaster enters slowly, yet with purpose, as he makes his way to the large chair at the head of the table. He stops beside his chair and then looks to you all. It's proper etiquette to salute your superiors upon formal requests such as this. Our guild salute is as follows. And he makes a fist with his right hand while holding his forearm out in front of his body. Then he snaps his forearm vertically to the center of his chest, followed by a slight nod. It appears as if he's waiting for you to salute him.
Thorin will stand up and do it exactly as he did it, and wait for a response.
Zio will do the same.
Krug will stand, look at him, then salute.
Yeah, and Barristan is sort of the last to do. His bones are a bit older than everyone else at this table. He sort of slowly gets up and sort of mimes the same movement.
You may all be seated. With that, he pulls out the chair and sits back down. Well, sits down for the first time. You four are all new recruits, and will form a unit within the guild. You will accept and carry out our contracts as a team and as a brotherhood. So learn to work together, because despite your differences, when it's you against the dock, you'll only have each other. Now let's cover the guild rules. And with that, he kind of leans forward in his chair. So I'm not going to read this all out in in this old man voice, but we will quickly go over what he covers here now. just so you're all on the same page. For guild etiquette, you need to represent the Ashen Hounds at all times. If you do something that brings negative public opinion towards the guild, you and the event in question will be subject to investigation, review, and judgment from the guildmaster. This may result in termination of your membership, imprisonment, or execution. You don't have to be friends or even like each other, but while you're an active guild member, you must never harm or steal from another active member. Once a contract is accepted and signed off on, you are to work as an efficient unit for the success of the mission. Any issues that may arise during a contract must be brought to the guildmaster for review, debate, and final verdict. Then he goes over talking about loot distribution. So any coin, item, weapon, armor, or valuable material that is collected after signing the contract is considered to be loot associated with that contract up until the guildmaster signs the contract as complete. Therefore, during this time period, you're considered to be on mission, which means that you must work it out amongst the other members on that mission who will carry and use the newly acquired items for the time being. Now, basic monetary items. Once the contract is complete, will total up the value of all acquired basic monetary items, such as coins, gems, jewels, etc. Now, 10% of these items must be placed within the guild treasury. The remaining 90% is divided equally amongst the members of that contract. Any excess amount that did not divide equally will also be placed within the guild treasury. Now, for everything else you find, once the contract is complete, everything that was not a basic monetary item will be placed into the loot pool. It will then be randomly determined the order in which those members will get to choose the items. Each member will take turns choosing a single item from the loot pool to either keep for themselves or sell for personal profit. We'll repeat the process of choosing items until all the items have been acquired. After the process is complete, the members may trade amongst themselves if they wish. So, fallen members. If the guild member should die while on contract, all of the basic monetary items and everything else on that individual follows the loot distribution rules as if they were newly acquired items for that contract. He sits back in his chair, looking you all over once again, and says, "Enough in this stuffy room. Let us take a tour of the grounds." And with that, he escorts you all outside. You walk through the Ashen Hounds grounds, and in fact, the grounds cover a huge area, about the size of a typical town block. Although most of the area is flat landscape awaiting construction. He takes you into the armory and shows you this is one of the buildings that's fully constructed here. I'm not going to read the whole description. You can read that later to yourself. However, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see an image of the blacksmith, a Goric forge fiend, who is a half-orc, who maybe you'll get to know in the future when you have to do some shopping. And other than that, you can see in here is where if you guys want to access and get a list of all the things, the basic items to buy. As our guild grows, we will use the funds to make improvements and upgrades to our grounds, which will allow both yourself and the future recruits to be better prepared for what awaits you. So as you notice here in the armory, it's got Armory Tier 2 and Armory Tier 3. I'm not sure if I might adjust the gold once I figure out exactly how much gold is given out per adventure in this game. So those prices may vary. But as of now, I just put placeholders there. But as you can see, you'll be able to spend some of that 10% that keeps getting taken from each of your missions to upgrade your facilities. And there's only one other active building at this time, and that's the Merchant. So if you want to click the Merchant tab, you'll see that the same thing goes in here. This is where you would get all your basic equipment, your rations, that kind of thing. There's also the option to upgrade this to decrease the cost of it, which, would help future recruits purchase more starting gear. And if you scroll down, you will see the shopkeeper is Lyra Blackthorn. And other than that, I will, even though he doesn't cover it here now in detail, if you notice on the left-hand side, here are the possible things you can upgrade. You can click on them if you want. You'll be able to purchase any with the star or the asterisk in front of it is something that you can build. You don't even have Tier 1 yet, but we can save up and purchase later. So there's Houndmaster, Training Grounds for new recruits, so your starting characters will be better. There's a library, an underground market where you will make magic items available for purchase, the alchemist, where you can get a variety of potions, the temple, which will help priests for various things, a spy. Yep. Go ahead.
You mentioned that 10% of the money we gather would go towards this, and we can use that 10% to upgrade these. Right?
Exactly. That's the whole purpose of the 10%.
If we ever wanted to, if we had the excess money, we wanted to donate extra to the guild for this purpose, could we?
I'm not sure. I've been trying to think about. I've been trying to think about that. Maybe, but I see players tend to get a lot of gold fast.
Exactly.
I honestly, I think you're going to want to be spending your gold on your characters in this for the most part, because the more gold you have that you don't need, you can spend on carousing, which converts into XP. Okay. So you can literally buy XP in this, essentially. So most of the time you're going to be doing that. You'll always have something to spend your money on, but we'll see. We can discuss that
trying
later.
To see what's the better investment. Since our characters are most likely temporary, the guild is forever.
Exactly. So we can discuss later whether we want that or not. Because I want the guild progress to be something that takes a long time, right? Not something that gets done too quickly. So then there's a spy network, which will give you additional information on your contracts in advance. An enchanter, obviously, can enchant, create scrolls and wands and a variety of things. Den of Thieves, which is pretty cool. It's basically you get to hire a thief and assassin to send out on missions that go on in the background, and they try to carry out missions for you, and there's a percent of successful chance that they will, carry out the mission. If any of you guys have ever played games like, I don't know, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or something, it's like it's like a mini game within a game. But yeah. And then Jewel Crafter, basically you can get magical jewels to enchant your current gear. Exotic Edibles is food that gives additional benefits and bonuses. A Shipyard, which will reduce the travel time for your overseas missions, or you can choose to take a more combat-ready boat, which will give you more fighting crew and more cannons and that kind of thing for any adventures that send you overseas. And then finally, the Stable, which will essentially either reduce your land travel time or give you a war horse, which you can then ride and battle on. All right. So now that he says, here is your first contract, and he hands you a rolled up parchment. Who's going to take it?
I will roll it, put it in my hand and accept it.
He puts it in your hand. It has a nice red seal on it, wax seal. And he says, that is all for now. You are dismissed to carry it out. And again, he awaits.
Guildmaster.
He awaits to be saluted.
I do this salute.
Yeah, I salute. I'm not last this time.
Will nod and salute.
Okay. It's fair to say you all salute.
Yeah.
As you can kind of get the general vibe, anyone of higher rank, when you first meet them, you should salute, and then when they depart, they salute. But
is there a clear way to determine, other than the guildmaster, who's a higher rank?
It will be their titles, just as you guys have titles. I'll try to address them by title. As of now, the only other two you met don't have rank on you. The shopkeep and the blacksmith, they don't have rank. None of those shopkeepers have necessarily. They technically have rank, but you don't really need to salute them. Other than that, you guys are handed the contract. He turns and departs. And you're standing outside in the dark.
Is there a place that we would naturally go to read this contract, or are we just going to read it under a torchlight here?
It's up to you. You could go back inside the guild hall or head over to buy a lantern. A lot of these buildings have lanterns hung on the outside.
I'll just go to the nearest lantern and break the seal on this contract.
All right. You crack it open. So the contract is titled Bittermold Keep. Now, this stuff on top is kind of metagame stuff. It's not technically on the contract, but
they don't tell us the danger levels on the contract?
Sure. No, it doesn't tell you the danger level. But it does have two of the things. It does say that the travel time will be 3 hours, and it does state that it is those like that route is typically unsafe, which means you have to check for a random encounter every 3 hours. So there's going to basically be one random encounter check, is what that means. Navigation is an easy intellect test to stay on course and find this, so only a DC 9. And danger level is 1. That's just like more of a metagame thing to let you guys know. Like if the adventure was 1 to 3, I'd probably put like 1-3 or something, you know? Because there's going to become a time where you guys might have, well, there will be, you're going to have multiple contracts in here and get to pick which one to go on. So then you guys can weigh it out like that based on your current crew, right? So the paper says, long ago, the once prominent noble family of bitter molds retreated from the public eye, choosing a life of reclusion within the shadows of their ancestral keep. As time elapsed, their isolation grew even more pronounced, until eventually silence enveloped the bitter mold name like a shroud. Those who dared to investigate their fate seldom returned, while the fortunate few who did spoke of the bitter mold keep that had crumbled into ruins, a haunting echo of its former grandeur. Now, the Ashen Hounds have been summoned by an anonymous benefactor who seeks the recovery of a unique and highly coveted magical artifact known as the Cloven Heart, a heart-shaped glittering ruby marred by a conspicuous crack down its center. In exchange for securing this precious item and delivering it to the anonymous buyer, this contract shall be considered fulfilled. The buyer attests that the surface level of the Bittermold Keep has been meticulously searched to no avail, leading to the belief that the Cloven Heart may be concealed within the underground depths of the estate. It is acknowledged that over time the keep has become a haven for treasure hunters, raising doubts about the relic's continued presence within. Nevertheless, given the Bittermold's family wealth and other valuable artifacts are likely to remain, serving as an additional incentive for our guild members. The agreed upon compensation for the successful retrieval of the Cloven Heart stands at 200 gold pieces, with the potential for additional rewards stemming from any other valuables that you discover within the keep. Caution and cunning will be your allies in this endeavor, for the keep's depths are unknown. May the light guide your path as you undertake this perilous mission for the glory of the Ashen Hounds. And with that, you have your first official contract. So it's only 3-hour travel on foot. You guys are new recruits, poor, you don't have any horses or anything. You're going to have to hoof it on foot. Prepare to head out. You all leave this relatively safe confines of the city and head out into the wilds. Luckily for you, the majority of this trip is on some old roads. With that, that makes it a easy intellect test. So who will be taking lead and navigating? I will point out the ranger has advantage on this roll.
Probably the ranger.
Yeah, it's my whole thing. It's, I'm a ranger.
So you can roll intellect with advantage to beat a 9.
Advantage.
You don't have any pluses to intellect?
No?
Jeez, what do you mean? White? You have no pluses in intellect?
Hey, it's not what I picked, it's what I rolled.
Great start, guys. Great start.
I should roll.
All right. So essentially, you travel for the first 3 hours. And if I roll a 1 on this dice, it is a random encounter. So, as you travel, you're just hearing the faint sounds of the mysterious creatures going off in the wilds. You travel for the full 3 hours, and then you realize, we should be there by now, but you are not. And you're gone down a more narrow path. It's still a road, but you believe you may have took the wrong turn at the fork in the road. Which means you have to backtrack and try to get your bearings and continue on. So, you essentially wasted enough time that it gives another roll for a random encounter. So on a result of a 1, there's a random encounter. Okay, So now you can make another navigation check for us, Zale.
Does anyone else want to roll it, or?
It's kind of your thing.
I know. I'm just giving everyone else the option before I do.
Let's give the elf one more chance to prove themselves.
Here we go. Oh, this looks familiar. Go about my business.
Luckily for you, your ranger gets you on the correct path, and you make your way to the Bittermold Keep. As you approach this keep, you hear the sounds of howling in the distance. A lot of wolves. At least you hope they're wolves. And nothing worse. But a lot of wolf-like howls from the perimeter and throughout this long abandoned keep. You search through the area as you walk through, and just as was stated, it seems heavily picked over and desolate of life. Nothing really of note. With about 30 minutes of searching, you do come across a crumbled kind of trap door, large set of double trap doors that would lead down a set of stairs that seem to go deep, deep beneath the earth. However, I will give you an option. Typically, when you arrive to a location where you have to do a contract like this, the option is there for you if you want to do a perimeter search to try to find any additional entrances. You can do so, but based on the size of this, it essentially will be another random encounter check. Or you can just head into this more blatantly obvious main entrance into the depths of the keep. The choice is yours.
I feel we spent enough time on the road. This way leads down, exactly where we need to go. Why look any further?
I agree.
And I guess assuming there's no light source, through these steps down, I guess I'll prepare to cast light, and fingers crossed it works. I'm going to cast light, so I think the DC for this is 11 because I think it's 10 plus the level of spell. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to cast a spell. It's a normal roll. Okay.
I don't know if you looked at your dice roll. It was a 1, and then it slowly rolled onto a 19.
It rolled really fast for me, so it didn't do that, so I didn't have the heart attack. So going down, I sort of hold out my shield and just sort of run my palm down over, and as it does, glittering jewels begin to light up and light our way. So I do have the light spell cast, so I'm going to go over to my inventory, and I have the light spell there, and
you head down a long set of spiraling stairs that eventually lead you down here, and you feel at this point you are well and deep underground. The entry hall. You descend into the underground keep. Its walls seeping slushy water from hairline cracks, casting an eerie luminescence upon the damp stone. The air is heavy with humidity, carrying a sour taint that clings to your every breath. In the dim light, a grotesque, misshapen, waxy statue in the southern alcove writhes with unsettling shadows, while your boots leave streaks in the muddy floor, marking your presence among the long-forgotten echoes of this cursed place. And even though your light source, you can't really see it quite yet, I'm going to say you can faintly make it out, because I probably shouldn't have described that to you yet, but it's fine. Now, as always, we got to add you guys to the initiative tracker, and we'll get her going. So toggle combat state and roll all. And we'll see our crawling order is Krug.
Grug's going to...
So you get a movement and an action. And remember, your action can be to search an area for secret doors, or search for traps, or just investigate something in particular, etc.
Grug is going to look over at that statue.
The statue is down south, and I'm going to say that, like, right now, all you can make is a silhouette of it until you get a light source. You can see the flickering of light. Very far off.
Krog is
So
going
like
to...
70, 80 feet away.
He's going to nudge Thorn. He's just going to kind of nudge him with the butt of his axe and then point towards a light source.
Did you want to essentially make like a perception test to try to look and listen to get any additional details rather than just waste your turn? So that would be a wisdom check if you want to do that.
Wisdom check. Boom, big 4.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to give you a DC, but either way, that's not enough.
That fails all of them.
Yes. So, you, other than that flicking light, that's it. That's all you can perceive. Zale, you're next.
Okay, I'm going to step past Barristan up here.
Mm-hmm. And I suggest you, if you can, you guys use your keyboards to move, so exact squares I can see what you moved on.
And then I'm going to, now that some time's been staggered, I have my bow in one hand, and no arrow, but I'm going to light a torch. And I only moved to there at the moment.
Yeah, and it takes an action to get out a flint and steel and light a torch, which is what you do. Okay, moving on. We have Barristan.
Okay, Barristan. He's just going to take a few steps forward.
And I will point out now with the light source, you can see down south, there's that little cubby hole, area. That is where the statue resides, in there. It's filling up that area. If you were wondering when I said the statue to the south.
Okay. But we see do we all see that flickering light in the distance?
Yes, that's obvious. Thanks to me screwing up with the map.
It's okay. One thing I would like to do is, you mentioned how muddy the earth is here as you sort of walked in. Can I make a perception? Well, you tell me whatever check is required for this. I want to see if there's any tracks of anyone else coming in here. We do know the location is prone to like treasure hunters or whatnot, just to see if anyone else has recently traveled here, like any recent tracks before we venture any further.
Okay, I'll make it an easy check. Just DC 9 with you guys.
All clear.
Make sure all of you guys have on your main tab that you have your luck checked off. I'm going to start you all with a luck. I'm going to be nice because it's your first characters.
Yeah.
So make sure
it's checked off. I'm not going to burn a luck on this.
No.
Okay, so I'm taking 3 steps. I'm going to move a bit further.
I will say, yeah, you look through the mud here, and there's a bit of the tracks that you guys are having, and there's a lot of other types of smears in here, but you're having a hard time distinguishing. And you think to yourself, well, there might be some here, maybe it's out of your scope at the moment. Okay, stop.
Okay, so this is where I am anyway. That's the full extent of my move.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to let you know that that's as far as you could go.
Yep, no, that's why. That was the full extent of my movement anyway. That was my other turn, because I'm guessing doing the check was my other action?
Yes, investigating that particular area was...
okay, so that's me.
You were investigating the floor, so yes. I will point out, now that you stepped into a new room, I will describe this room to you. So this is the area that Barristan just stepped into. Dozens of stone busts loom from the deep wall niches. Am I getting that right? Niches? Yeah, niches. Their once majestic features now grotesquely distorted, as if tormented by some dark magic. The floor, a morass of mud, ends halfway across the room. Shadows dance eerily around the room, casting long, menacing silhouettes that seem to mimic the silent watchers. Sounds of a barking of voices from the west create an unsettling chorus of frenzied calls that echo through the darkness. So at this point, you're hearing some kind of chatter. It almost sounds a little bit guttural, almost like barking, but yet some kind of spoken language, but it's too distant to make out.
Okay, so like upon hearing that, I'll just sort of like quickly turn back to everyone else, like, shh, you're not alone here. There are voices deeper within.
All right, so Krug will just nod at him as he poked me with his axe, and I'm going to go up and take a look at the flickering light.
Stop. Go back. Okay, no. You can go as far as here. Now, as you step across and you step in that particular spot, I need you to make me a DC 12 dexterity check. Oh my.
That's probably not going to work.
Okay.
Oh wait, you have luck. You have luck.
I have a -1 to dexterity.
Although,
and you could
you
always
might want to
save
save it in case.
You could save luck for recasting your healing spells or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to use my luck on this.
Yeah.
It's up to you, though. All right. So as you see, as he approaches forward and he just clampers by you, Barristan, you notice the ground just sinks in upon itself, almost like a sludgy masonry-like quicksand, but it's also very acidic. And with that, you take 4 acid damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you are stuck in essentially a quicksand of masonry and acid, as the ground beneath you just gave way, and your feet, you're sunken down now up to your kneecaps as it burns into you. You still have your action.
Yeah, so I'll look back at Barristan and say, "All clear," you said. And then I'm going to use my action to try and get out of this pit.
Okay, so not sure if I did this the right way, but either way, I'll let you as an action now do another DC 12 dex check to escape.
Dex to escape the quicksand.
Yes,
Right.
You're stuck in it until you can get out of it. And you're sinking, essentially. Ooh, wow, okay. Not being too dexterous, you struggle to get out of here. Now, you won't take damage again until next round, of course. But as you guys see, Thorin struggling to get out of this quicksand. And I will point out that, as I mentioned in my description, try to pay attention to... this is an out-of-game tip here. Try to pay attention to my descriptions. As I mentioned that... the mud on the floor ended halfway across this room. So if you notice, you're essentially halfway across this room. So I gave a small hint.
Yes, but I'm playing off Barristan's "It's all clear."
I'm just letting you go.
I did not say
I'm not
it was all
pointing-
clear. I said there were voices ahead.
No, you looked at the mud and said it was good. You couldn't find anything.
Oh, yes, previously, yes.
Okay, and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just pointing out for the rest of this dungeon, try to pay attention to the minor little details that I give.
I know. I'm just playing off the other
Duly
characters.
noticed.
I'm going to look back after obviously not being able to get myself out. I'm kind of going to stick my mace straight out and say, "A hand, then." And that's my turn.
Okay. Since that happened on your turn, I gotta wait till it comes around to me again to check something out. Krug, you're up.
Krug is going to walk here. And how far down in the pit is he?
At this point, he's only to his kneecaps, but he's stuck in it.
Can I reach him?
Yes, because the fact that he's only sunken a little bit. He is a dwarf, but and he's holding out his weapon for assistance. Yes, you could easily lean in there and grab his weapon.
I mean, could I reach him outside of his weapon? Could I reach his collar? That's what I'm asking.
I'll say yes, you could. Yeah.
I'm gonna reach in, and as my action, I'm gonna grab the collar of his armor and just yank him out of the pit.
Okay. And how much would you say you weigh? You're a dwarf, and you're wearing what? Leather armor?
Leather armor, dwarf. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it around the same as the DC to escape the thing naturally. So it's a DC 12, but in your case it'll be strength, and you'll get advantage because you have grit.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
All right. Describe what you do, and I'll let you have a free movement back enough squares if you want to do this, essentially.
You have your weapon reach straight up, and Krug just kind of shakes his head as he sees you fall into the trap, and he bypasses the mace that you have stuck in the air and reaches down aggressively, grabs you by the scruff, and hauls you up and plants you next to him, and just kind of looks at you and grunts.
Well done, then.
Dale, you're up. Oh, okay.
So I move up to here, and I'm going to use my second action to examine the room to see if it looks like more of this is trapped in the adjacent box, or if it was just that one.
Okay, so essentially what I let you guys do is if somebody takes an action to search for traps, it'll be a 30-foot radius from your character that in anywhere that you could have line of sight to, and you actually have visual, actual light source. So
Okay. So my next question is, when I do this, I don't know if I can at the same time, try to distinguish if that was just a trap, or if it was just the ground below it had melted and there's just shitty acid in places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to make this a normal test. It's DC 12, and you can give me a normal wisdom check as you try to check the area around. All right.
Nope.
All I can say is that it looks like that particular area, it's not like it's a man-made trap. It's like that particular area just happened to have the stonework is sunken in and melted and deformed, almost like wax. And you notice some of that on the walls, especially in the previous room.
And you... Go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you sort of mentioned a few things melting here so far, like the statue and the...
Yeah,
something
That's
going
why I
on.
asked if it was a purposely made trap or just shitty acid everywhere.
But other than that, you don't see any other traps here.
Okay. And that's my turn.
Okay, Barristan.
I'm going to do and look for any additional traps as my first action, just where I'm sort of in the room, just to sort of gauge how best to proceed. So I'll make a check there. That's a normal wisdom. You said that was DC 12?
Yeah, if you're essentially just looking for traps here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are on fire.
You scour the area, just looking for anything out of the ordinary, any more sunken earth or anything that might jump out to you as visually might trigger a trap. You don't see anything.
Okay. Do not notice anything. So, can't tell what's down there, but I do hear noises coming up there. So, I'd like to cautiously take my way across the room. So I'm not sure if that would be like a stealth.
Yep. You stealth
Way?
is a dex check, and you move at half the movement.
Okay. So, do you want me to make the check first before I move?
Sure. Before or after. Before is probably better, just so we know.
Yeah, just so we know. So I'll make the dex check. Just, is there a DC for this?
I'm going to say based on this environment, it is...
Does not matter.
I was going to give it an easy. I was going to make it a normal because the place is pretty quiet, except. Well, actually, no, there's a bit of noise up there. But either way, you failed horribly before I could even set the DC.
Yeah.
So
it's only half my movement, so I'm going to be taking these 3 steps over. So, my character's not moving.
You gotta click on the character first.
There you go.
Okay, are you walking that way into the sun? You just walked right through the trap.
Oh, I thought it was just that one square.
No, I will point out. Sorry, maybe I didn't point out. All 4.
Oh, I thought it was that specific.
No, you can go back. That's why I'm going to let you know.
Okay, sorry.
All
okay.
4 of these seem to have sunken in.
Oh, like that. Okay, I thought it was just that one square he was on. Okay. So just that, those 4 right at the top.
Yep.
Okay.
Right,
So
we're
I'll
in the
try
center.
doing this.
So as you scuffle across, I mean, you're trying to be as quiet as you can, but, it's just the boots on stone. It's not like you're making a lot of noise. It's just if somebody wants to hear you, they can passively hear you a little easier now, and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah.
Okay. But I didn't land on anything else, so sort of knowing that it didn't trigger any additional traps, like, follow my path.
And if you guys ever want me to re-describe a room, let me know, okay? Because there's usually a lot of details in the rooms, so don't be afraid to ask if you want me to re-describe what's in a room. Okay, moving on. Now that it's the Game Master turn, I'm going to do a random encounter check this turn early, because I feel the sound effects of Thorin falling into a trap and then getting heaved out would have made a bit of sound. At least a chance. No, you're lucky. So with that, all you continue to hear is the chatter coming from the west down that hall. And it's kind of like more gargly, but like almost like a group. It's multiple voices all talking to each other in a weird garbled language. You would have to get closer to automatically try to listen to what they're saying, unless you take an action to try to perceive from way out here somewhere where you guys are. It's up to you. But Thorin, you're up.
I think we need to move this further. My light spell's going to expire soon.
Do this. 3, 4, 5, and I am going to take an action to perceive what the sound is.
Okay. I'll make it an easy check. DC easy. So that would just be wisdom.
Yeah, but easy is 10?
It is 9.
No, 9. Alright.
And what languages do you speak?
That is a excellent question. Celestial, Common, and Dwarfish.
It's Dwarvish. Sounds a little... Yeah, you're not sure if it's a halfling or a dwarf. Being that it's a little bit more high-pitched, you're guessing it may be a halfling, but it's also growly, and they're speaking a bit low, so it could be a dwarf. But either way, they share the same language. And you overhear just them saying, like, when are we going to move out again? I don't know. We gotta wait. We need to find out where the bitter molds are. And then there's a lot of garbling, and you can't quite hear a bit more, and then you hear, like, a more, like, distinctive voice pipe up and say, settle down, soon we will leave. We just need to get our bearings and wait for our scouts to return. I'll say with the perception test, you pick up at least the voice of 6.
Okay. At least 6 people waiting for scouts to return.
Krug.
Okay, Krug is going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for my action, I'm going to try to see if I can see anything. Like, pick anything out in the light that's up above.
Okay.
I know you just listen to stuff. I don't know if I can see anything.
Okay, I'm gonna say from there, yeah, just give me a perception test. I'll make it 9 as you try to peer through the darkness, because there is a light source here, and I'll reveal some things if you can pull it off.
Such as wisdom, yeah?
Yes, yeah. Okay. I'm going to reveal to you the following. I don't know if you can see on the map.
Yep, I can see. Well, I was just seeing a bunch of figures.
Okay. As you stare up ahead, amidst the eerie glow of the campfire's flickering light, you see a circle of barefoot halflings, clad in scraggly coyote pelt cloaks, huddled together. Their incessant jabbering filling the air as they gnaw on raw catfish with an unsettling fervor. You also see some stone pillars that loom nearby, blocking partial line of sight to them. And other than that, that's all you can make out from this distance. Dale, you're up.
Okay, I'm moving in the room. My second space is over here. Third. Down here, as I'm walking by, do I see a wall down here, or is that just the end of my light?
That is the wall.
Okay,
but
and
now
is this a hallway?
Yes, that is a hallway leading off to the west. And that room, just to recap real quick, there's a lot of muddy footprints, scattered around, going in all directions, and there's busts, lots of menacing-looking busts throughout.
Looking at the bust and the muddied footprints, do I see any blood on the ground that can stand out? Like observation check, basically. I'm looking for signs that traps were sprung, or blood, or anything like that, just around this area. I can't move forward, so I'm doing something.
You don't see any additional traps that have been sprung, and so you're just looking for anything out of the ordinary, essentially?
Pretty much.
Okay, give me a perception test when you got a decent light source.
Or focusing mostly on these statues. I'm looking to see if there's any gem work any gem work at all, but especially the clover.
Okay, so you essentially want to take your turn to investigate the busts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all you need to say. So yeah, intellect test, and
Ooh.
Oh well, I didn't have a chance to set the DC. It's fine. Critical. All right. As you look over the busts, they're humans. They're all humans. All kind of crude and menacing looking, all like partially melted in different areas, making their faces droop and things like that. You do notice something in particular in one of them. A stone is jammed in the mouth of one of the statues.
Okay, so on that note, I don't remember if this has been covered before. I've used half of my move. It's done now. I can't move my other half, right?
You can move your other half, yes.
Okay, so where's this bust to?
They're all along the walls. I'll say that the one in particular is just right here.
Okay, so I'm going to move here, and then move here.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm assuming I can't just take it, right? I'm assuming it's an action or something?
It's kind of like picking up an item. It's kind of a free thing. If you what do you just want to take the stone out of its mouth?
Yeah, I've searched this area for traps. I'm confident that there is none, or I don't want to search it again.
That'd be a free action just to pull the thing out. Because it's just like picking up an item off the floor or something like that.
Yeah, I'm assuming if I wanted to take my time and search the area and stuff, it would be an action.
Correct. Yeah.
But I've already searched it when I was 4 blocks back here, visually. So.
All right. So do you want to take it?
Yes.
You do. Okay. I just want to. All right. All right. So yeah, just as you make your way over there, you see that it catches your eye, and you go over and you grab it, and it gives you no resistance. and you just pull it out.
Is it a heart-shaped ruby? Can we leave?
No, it is not. All right. As you pull it out, it begins to sing a jaunty kind of anthem.
Oh my God.
Quite loudly.
Oh shit. Jim with the statue.
It's a statue just begins to sing. And that's where we'll move on. Barristan, you're
I
up.
was keeping it quiet.
Barristan, you get the act.
Okay, so we know there's halflings up ahead. They definitely know we're here if it hears the singing now.
No doubt. No doubt. You know
no
that
doubt.
that's loud enough that it would carry that distance around the corner easy.
Okay. I'm going to use one action. I'm going to do Cure Wounds on Thorin, because he's a bit burnt up by that acid. So let's do a spell check. And it's normal. I'm going to have to use a luck.
Don't want to lose your healing spell right away.
Oh, just watch out. This is going to be just as bad. Oh. Okay. It X'd out for me. Am I able to... Wait. Okay, I got it. Okay. Let me try it again. No whammies.
Good luck. Oh.
Oh!
my.
Critical! Wow. Okay, so no healing for me. And something else.
Yeah. Okay, that spell is gone, of course.
Of course. It's already scratched off on my list.
And if I'm just gonna
That's
pause,
terrible start.
I just paused the game for a brief second.
Yeah.
I
Terrible
know.
start.
The question is, the book doesn't say. So should I allow more than one luck point to be used? Under luck, it just basically says, any player can use a luck point to do a reroll. But there's nowhere in the book that says you can only reroll something once. But most games would say that.
Well, if it doesn't say it, my interpretation is you can use it as many times because it's a limited resource.
Yeah, I agree, because we only have limited luck anyways.
Yeah, so we can't spam it. So, I mean, I cannot use luck at all anymore until... I can't remember how we get it back. But either way, it's limited. So, if anyone else wants to allow me to roll again,
I will use
up to
my
them.
luck for you to roll that again.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna burn everyone's luck now.
On a quick note there, Eddie, I know it's not at the moment, but can you give someone luck if you're not in line of sight of them?
yeah, it doesn't say. It just says you can give it to
Okay.
another person. It's not like you need to intervene and say what you're doing to give them luck or anything. It's just these are just
This
like
is more of a mechanical thing rather than a narrative thing, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But if
Okay,
you guys
so-
ever want to come up with something on how you're assisting them, of course you can. But in this kind of case, you can't really assist him with not fooling up his spell. So.
Okay, so I'll
glare
try
at him,
again.
right?
Glare at him.
Okay, let's try again.
Feel better.
Blaring luck.
Oh my.
I hate you.
No!
Nerd.
How
Are
did you critical fail
kidding
twice?
me? Once! I failed 3 times in a row. Hey,
Well,
anyone
like,
else got
abandon
some
you.
luck you want to burn?
Not on you.
Yeah.
It's up to you
And
guys.
still a critical failure. That's hilarious.
So there's only 2 people left with luck. You can keep it. No pressure for yourself. And we can
Yeah,
just...
I got my own spells to cast.
Okay, and just double check, Zale, you keeping yours?
Kind of on the fence, because we kind of need it, but that's some horrible track record to invest in right there.
I know. Hey, I could go 3 for 3 on the
Yeah,
one.
but statistically, what's the chance of this happening again? Right?
I think
know.
we call this a sure thing in the business.
Yeah, so I am going to give him my luck.
I can't roll any worse.
Surely it won't happen a third time.
Okay, so
If you roll one again, I don't think you should be able to click anymore. Just saying.
no. Okay. I'm gonna. Okay, I'm rolling again. 3rd luck.
I can't believe you're wasting the whole party's luck on one.
I said I was.
Oh!
Okay. Yay!
Oh,
All right, I just
Now I gotta
want.
roll a d6 to see how much health you roll.
Don't worry, I've had the
to get
game
back,
paused
so-
this whole time, so your torches are not burning. So don't worry about that.
Okay, okay.
I can't wait for this
so
to
I'm
be
gonna
a
roll.
1.
Okay, so this is gonna be d6. Okay, you heal 3.
All right, I'll click on you and go 1, 2, 3. So you only have one little scratch on you there now.
Okay, so
and
that
notice
was my
you're touching me a lot, and then finally the heal comes through.
yeah, it's okay. Okay, okay, so that was my first action. I'm going to move up because I'm going to try and like shield the others and also get a light source going up there. So I'm going to go 1. Oh, there we see him. 2, 3, 4. They know we're definitely here now anyway. 5. So I'm just going to go here, just sort of like with my shield up because they know we're here. Holy shit! There's a lot. There's a lot more than 6 of them.
Yeah.
I said at least 6.
On the first page of your character sheet, there's a box that you can click for luck, if anyone doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's unchecked. It is empty. Okay, so that's my turn now. So I did the heal. I moved up. They know we're here. I got my big glowing shield.
And it goes to me, which means these halflings get to act.
All of these guys.
Yes. So they all immediately are startled by your presence, and they turn around and let know some kind of weird howls and grunts. They seem very kind of like coyote or wolven kind of attitude, personality about them. A little more like somebody who was raised in the wilds
Feral.
kind of thing. Yeah, a bit more feral. And with that, they all turn, and what's going to happen first is I will get their leader to step forward down here where he gets a bit better of line of sight and says, "Ah, at arms!" And with that, they all are automatically drawing out their weapons. You notice they are equipped with clubs and slings. And he looks over and says, "Who goes there? Speak now."
Is it still my turn, I guess? I'm not sure.
I will.
I'm not sure how talking works in this.
I'll,
Really.
Yeah, and where
and-
there's the initiative all the time, I'm not sure. Who
Yeah,
should
you can
speak.
talk here now. We'll have a brief talk before we hop back in the initiative order. You can talk for a couple seconds. So who's going to
So
immediately
anyone can-
answer?
Crub grips his axe.
I'll respond if no one else is. I was just sort of waiting to see, like.
I'm not even there.
All right,
So,
three-
You approached. I'm leaving it to you.
Yeah, I approached. So is it? We are the Ashen Hounds. What brings you here?
Ashen Hounds? And he seems clearly confused. All right, well, with that, I'm going to, based on your first interaction with them, I'm going to roll a reaction check. And
Okay.
let's see how they respond. What is it? 2d6.
I have a +1 to my charisma.
No, you didn't. You didn't quite say or do anything that would entice them. Like if you would have said, "Oh, we come in peace, we mean no harm," or lowered your weapon to the ground or something like that, I probably
I
would
don't have a weapon. I only have a shield.
Oh, you don't have a weapon? You got weapons on you.
Well, yeah, sorry, I do have a weapon.
But you know what I mean? Like if you would have clearly
yeah.
shown you come in peace, I would have added your charisma. But otherwise, let's see. Okay. All right.
That's
So-
good, right?
So with that, they and he clearly seems confused by the word Ashen Hounds, and he says, "Drop your weapons or die." And with that, he gives a gesture, and for their actions, they're all moving up. And it looks like they're giving you a chance to drop your weapons. Moving on to Thorin.
Well, Thorin is going to step past.
And I will say during this time, the loud music is blaring out from that statue. So they were all about to be like getting up from that loud sound that triggered them. Anyways.
All right, I'll say we need not fight. We are just here to search the grounds. We mean you no harm, but we will not drop our weapons. They are for our protection. And I am going to just stand my ground and...
Are you basically trying to take an action with that speech to try to persuade them? If so, you can roll a charisma test for me.
I didn't know I could do that. Sure, yes, I will.
Can I say something to assist him? I don't know how this would work. There's something I want to add to this.
Sure, there's no assist, but go ahead.
Well, this is why. Just to sort of, I don't know if it'll lower any DCs or whatnot, but say if you let us pass, perhaps we can find your missing scouts. Just adding that there to see if that does anything in our favor.
I'm gonna, based on their reaction and what you guys said, I'm gonna put it at a normal DC 12, and so that's a charisma check.
Oh,
Okay.
that looked like it was going to be a 14.
All right, and they say, "No, they can't be trusted. They can't be trusted." You hear the murmurings coming throughout them. They're like, "They'll kill us," and that's all you're getting. They appear to still maintain their suspicious yet hostile attitude towards you. Krug, you're up.
Krug is gonna take a step back
Okay.
and glance down towards Zane, and he's going to look at Zane to try to get his attention. I'm gonna step this, not all the way across the door. I'm gonna lean in just to get my hand out of view of them, kind of thing. And I'm going to point to Zane. I'm going to point to his bow, and then I'm going to point down the hallway, and then I'm going to step back up and step forward behind Thorn. But my weapon is not lowered. I have a grip on my weapon.
Very good. Zale, you are up.
Okay. So my first plan was to try to get this thing to shut up. Now I'm thinking that if I stop it, they'll know that I'm here. They don't know I'm here at the moment. So I'm going to leave it, pocket the gem.
It's not a gem. It's literally just a stone.
Just a rock.
Just a rock.
Wow. Bullshit. Can I go down here?
It's a dirt gem.
Okay, split the party. Go on your own. Let them die. I like it.
That's what he told me to do.
I don't think that's what he told me to do.
I think it's what he told me to do.
Well,
That's up to you. That's up to your interpretation.
yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so you head
Greg
back.
has been very much non-verbal since we've gotten in here on
He pointed at me, pointed at my bow, and pointed at the hallway.
I pointed at your bow, I pointed at you, and I pointed down the hallway I was facing down.
Oh, never mind then.
So the north hallway.
Oh,
Our hallway.
this one up here.
Yeah, where all the halflings have surrounded me.
Yeah, he hasn't seen him yet.
I know.
Oh my Jesus.
Yeah, I'm literally surrounded. You guys cannot get into the room. There's so many halflings.
I'm here, Eddie, but I'm trying to peek out really quickly to get a.
Yeah, you're just putting your head around. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still got to be in whatever block to get line of sight. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
remember, you can move and shoot and move, right, if you're planning to shoot. But I don't know if that's a good idea. But something.
As I'm moving, I'm laying my torch on the ground right here.
Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, my light will be going out in probably 8 minutes.
So where to? There or underneath your current location, like underneath.
Right underneath my current location.
All right. Well, there you go. I laid it there.
So my new question is: there's no holding actions in this, right?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, I'm basically. I want to hold my action. I don't want to get I'm gonna. Never mind. I don't know if I can hold it because I'm staying hid behind a corner. Right. My idea was to pop out and shoot if I hear combat, but that's a move and an action technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't hold a movement.
Okay, so I'm gonna draw my get arrow, all that stuff, get ready, but I'm just gonna wait.
Barristan, you are up. As you stand in front of this horde of halflings, they're slightly shorter than you, being that you're a dwarf. but they all look menacing and feral, and you feel what you want, but your limited combat experience would tell you that you're in trouble. Go ahead with your turn.
Oh, yeah. It's like, this need not come to blows. I'm sure we can help each other. You've come here for a reason. Perhaps we can help.
Okay.
I like that to be my first action, just to get a read on them.
So your
Like,
action is one more desperate attempt from you to try to convince them before I go to their actions, and they're looking a little hostile, as I said. So,
yeah.
all right, you may make. Let me get the DC here. I'm gonna keep it at what I said it was before, which is
There's a normal,
12.
which is a 12.
So you need a
Okay.
charisma test of 12 to try to get them to back up.
Okay. Ooh, 19.
Okay. You were lucky because they were switching from suspicious to hostile, and with that, with both of you pleading kind of essentially with them to that you don't mean any harm. We'll switch. And are you taking any movement before I move to their turns?
Yes, I want to move through.
Through
I know
them?
moving
Through them?
Yeah, through them. I know you said you can move through enemies, but it's considered difficult terrain. Are they still enemies? If they after that, can I move forward a little bit, or is still considered difficult terrain? I would guess.
They're not going to willingly let you. So for each of them, you would have to make a test to push through each one, and that would kind of be seen as a bit aggressive to be shoving through a crowd.
Okay. I wonder if there's something else I can do with my action, but I think that's really it.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to push through them. I can't really move anywhere. So
yeah, your action was to convince them, essentially. You took your turn to be trying to persuade them.
and I don't really have anything else, so I'll just sort of stay there.
All right, with that, the leader in the back holds his hand up and does a weird kind of whistle sound, and then all of them, they seem to glance slightly back for a brief moment, and they're just like kind of lunging back and forth a little bit, ready to pounce at any moment. But you feel as though he whistled at the exact moment that they were getting ready to lunge and take you down and beat you with their clubs. And with that, he pipes up. He says, "Ashen Hounds, you come into the Bittermold Keep. What is it that you seek?" You can all freely talk. We won't go in. We're going to freeze everybody in place until you say you guys want to do something otherwise, because it's more of a dialogue situation here.
Okay.
We'll still keep our initiative order, but it's just a matter of, Anyone responding?
We seek to investigate the fate of the Bittermolds.
I just want to be constantly clocking where everybody's to and look back for Zane.
Okay, you glance back and you can just see the light of his torch, and him occasionally he poked his head around briefly and then went back around again.
Yeah. Krog's not saying anything.
All right, so you said you wanted to know the fate of the Bittermolds. Is that what you said?
Yes, investigate the fate of the Bittermolds.
The Bittermolds. They interfere with what we need to do. I hate them. I hate them all.
They're still alive?
If you could call it that.
What would you call it?
Corrupt it. Mold it.
See. Perhaps we can help you with this. What is your purpose in the keep?
And you can see he's eyeing you up to see what kind of like treasures you got on you, or like legendary equipment, and you have none. So
yeah. Oh, quick question: during this conversation, because I got like less than 2 minutes left, can I attempt to recast light on my shield before we're like stuck in like half dark?
You can.
Oh, or I guess what I should ask is: because obviously it's going to be like I'm casting a spell. Are we at a point that like he's still on edge that he might not let that fly?
He's basically, you can tell he's trying to judge you guys now and trying to decide whether he's going to take you out and take your stuff, or he's going to talk this out with you and come to an agreement. He's kind of at a pass. He's 50-50 chance here. That's all you can tell. So you're going to cast it, or are you just going to... What are you doing before I carry on?
I'll sort of like ask his consent, like, do you mind if I just sort of refresh? And he's sort of like holding up my magically lit shield.
You see him look at his... And now he sees that the light source is coming from your shield, and he's kind of... His eyes go a little wide, and he's like, don't try anything tricky.
I wouldn't dream of it. So I'm going to attempt to cast it because I've got less than a minute.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Just watch now. I'm going to roll a 1 again.
Wait, you got 10 minutes.
Oh, really? Mine shows... I was sort of keeping... Oh, I don't know when you actually pause, so I'll still...
Yeah, that's why I said there's no point to be keeping track. Because the game will be paused and that kind of thing. So, and your character
I wasn't sure.
And your character wouldn't know exactly when. So if you start keeping time,
well, I can leave it then, or where I've already.
You still got 10 minutes. I'll let you know.
Okay.
9 minutes now.
Okay, I'll leave it for this conversation then. Okay.
He says, "You want to help us? Yes. Okay. Let's see. I have to know what you seek in here. Is it just the bitter molds? That's it.
The fate of the bitter molds and the fate of their estate.
And you plan to explore the remains of this
Explore? Yes, that is correct. We would like to explore this keep to make sure we find the fate of the bitter molds, and if they are as corrupted or as molded as you say, then we would like to find the source of that as well, and make sure that we remove any of these potential sources of this issue from here. We are here to try and bring light to
He
the
cuts
Obsidian
you
Isles.
off when you say that. His eyes flare with a bit of red when you said at the moment you said we need to stop whatever the source of the corruption is, right? As soon as you said that line, his eyes flare up and his kind of neutral posture turns to anger. And he steps forward, and it looks like you triggered him by saying that. You'll not do the like. You'll go nowhere near the source. Do you understand?
Not entirely, but if you could clarify for me, I'd be happy to learn more from you.
And now...
We did not know they were corrupted until you told us, good sir.
I'm going to say that triggered him pretty bad. I will let you now make a charisma check to try to save your ass. I'll make it a normal DC 12. Ooh, okay. He clearly says, "No, you're right. Wait, I can't be trusted if they're going to take out the source." And with that, we're going to roll initiative.
I'm dead.
He was just about to offer you a deal, but you said the wrong thing, which, of course, you had no idea why that triggers
No.
Nope, he just told us there was a thing. We just found out about
All
it.
right, resetting initiative.
Hopefully we all go before these guys.
And I'm going...
That would be really nice.
No, you guys are in big trouble. All right, everybody, let's pause the adventure for a quick second while I give you a recap and the thoughts here as I'm in the first half of my very first session of running Shadowdark. Now, don't worry, at the end of my little bit of dialogue here, I will have a link continuing on with the adventure, but this is where I was going to end the video, but I want to give you some of my final thoughts. I'd like to end each of these videos with a little bit of my quick thoughts on what actually happened during the game, and maybe explain why I may have made certain choices and that kind of thing. So, here we go. Let's get into it. Alright everybody, so this was the very first session I've ever ran of Shadowdark. So overall I think it went pretty good. Now this is the first half of the first session, so you're going to get the second half. It'll be linked again at the end of this video here now. So I know I didn't dive right into action, but that, you know, is a good thing to do a lot of time to get people hyped, and I get that. But with this type of game, being that it's centered around the Ashen Hound Guild, I wanted to set the foundation for the players so they know what to expect and how the guild's going to work and that kind of thing. So I started with like them meeting the guild master and then getting a tour of the grounds, and then he explains how the loot system will work. So you can comment down below, let me know what you think of the loot system. Instead of them like traditional, it's like whoever picks up the magical sword gets to keep the magical sword, and then you might get bickering in the party and being like, oh, this person just keeps managing to be the one to open the treasure chest. Because in a system like Shadowdark, where you have the crawling initiative order and players have to act in a particular order, whereas in a normal D&D session it'd be wide open and you would just ask people what they're doing. With this initiative system, I feel it's important that I give it a fair opportunity for loot distribution at the end of it all. So I built it into the guild to let it be known that, okay, you can find the things as you adventure. When you find them, decide who's using them. If you got the sword, give it to the fighter, whatever. But when you get back, you throw it all into a loot pool. We randomly determine who's going to get to pick from that pool. And then, yeah, because if there's a legendary blade and then everything else is just small little gems or whatever, the player who rolls the best can take the legendary gem. Then he can, what can he do with it? He can sell it, or he can turn to the fighter and say, you know what, I'm going to give this to you, but you owe me one. And then next time, if that fighter pulls something out of the pool and he wins like a mage staff and he wants to give that back to the wizard to return the favor, you know, they can still, you know, depends how friendly they are. But some characters are selfish, some are not. Depends how it's going to work out. I think this is going to be a pretty cool dynamic for loot distribution, but you can comment below, let me know your thoughts on it. I spent a lot of time on guild progress. So as you can tell, I had all those different buildings there, from the blacksmith to like creating a hound master, shipyards, etc. And the players will then get to unlock them as they keep adventuring, earning more money for the guild. So the 10% of their total wealth they get goes into the guild fund, but then they're really just getting it back. They're investing into the guild. So then it'll unlock cool things. Like I think the training ground ones will make starting characters start off with like a bit better abilities, a little bit of a fighting skill, that kind of thing. So it's a cool dynamic as they work here now over the course of characters. Like they said in the game, characters will come and go, right, and die off, but the guild is forever. I like that quote that they said. So yeah, it'll be up to them to decide how they want to progress the guild, right? The priests might want to get the temple built as soon as possible, but they might not. Maybe they're like, you know what, we got to start getting some potions, or, you know, I don't know, having a bit more intel before we go in so we can be better prepared. So let's get that spy network going, you know. And I created all those things myself. And I feel like it's just going to add this cool new level to this whole guild thing and really make them feel like they're part of the guild. So that was the plan there. You can comment below. Let me know what you think of that aspect of it. So as you can see, how I'm going to handle traveling in this is I'm going to set up based on the contract. I'll let them know in advance roughly how many hours it's going to take to get there. Is the environment like unsafe or extremely hostile or whatever? So if they got to go through into the dead of the dark forest or something, then it could be, you know, a lot more random encounter checks. So one every hour of travel as opposed to one every 3 hours of travel, you know, that kind of thing. So they'll know in advance how dangerous this is going to be, so they can try to be a little bit more prepared going into it, or whether they want to accept that contract or move on to another one for the time being until they get of a higher level. Also, the guild perks will like assist with that, because if you can get like faster horses or things that can cut down on travel time. It also adds a cool role to the ranger, right? Because a lot of Shadowdark you see online are people in dungeons and crypts. And it's like, well, okay, but the ranger is so good with nature and being above ground more so than underground. So it really helps the ranger lead the party. It could help them, well, you know, I gave them advantage on the roll, so they're navigating up there, and in other things, hunting and traveling and getting rations along the road if they want to kind of do that, if they get lost a little bit and that kind of thing. I made it an intellect, because it's intellect based to navigate, but at least most rangers also have a decent intellect score because that's what their herbalism is based off of, so I thought that was a pretty cool thing. Also, the more intelligent you are, probably the less chance of getting lost, but not always the case. It depends if you grew up in the reinforced or not, but certain classes, like when I start introducing the druid class or like the wild barbarians or something like that, I'd probably give them advantage on navigation as well if you have one of them in the party. But it depends. You know, you got a whole group of bards, well then they're going to get lost in the woods. That's just how it is. So yeah, that's my traveling system with chances for random encounters. If you can think of anything that I can add to it to spice it up a bit, or just give me your thoughts on that too. That'd be great. You can comment down below. Now as for the game, once they got above the Bittermold Keep, I'm typically going to give the players a chance if they want to further navigate the grounds to find alternate routes, because in this particular venture, you know that there's an alternate way to enter into this dungeon, right? So it'll give them a chance that if they want to risk the chance of a random encounter to search the grounds a little more, they could find an alternate entrance. Sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it won't. You might just walk right into the heart of things, right? But that's part of the fun of it. Now, once they got down in the keep, this is where the players also had to have a little bit of adaptation to, crawling initiative. They're not used to it. They're all 5e players, so they know they're just everybody to speak up and do what you want. But with the crawling order, it took a little bit of getting used to on how they can move and talk. You might have seen that pop up a few times. And I tried to tell them to pay attention to the little descriptions that I give, to hint that there's muddy footprints, so that could mean, and the mud stops halfway across the room abruptly, so that means, there's probably a trap there, that kind of thing, right? So, I had very subtle hints, but, they're there. And sometimes they're hard to pick up on. Sometimes they're a bit of a stretch, but, it is what it is. So I felt the party did great here. They worked as a team. They went through. They got as far as the encountering the Howlers. Now, the Howlers are typically meant, from what I've gathered online, they're meant to be either stealth past, bartered with, and you talk to them and come to an agreement to, probably go after the bitter molds, get the head of the leader and that kind of thing. And you shouldn't really fight them. So I was kind of like trying to let that aware, and I made that as clear as I could. They were, you could see they were so outnumbered. They knew they didn't want to go that route either. And I gave them the charisma check. The first one went bad, so they moved up on them. Second charisma check, they passed it. So I'm like, okay, negotiations are on the table, and they started talking. All right, so once the leader of the Howlers was willing to talk, and he said, well, what are you all doing here? And then Thorin replied, as a part of his reply was, well, we plan to search this keep, find the source of whatever's doing this kind of corruption, and put a stop to it. When he said that, it triggered their leader, because if you read the little backstory of the leader from the module, it states, I don't know if I want to spoil it for anybody, so maybe I won't say it, but there's a reason for it, right? If you know the adventure, there is a particular reason that he would not want the source of this to be found and destroyed. So to me, that triggered him. That set him from being suspicious into hostile, and then I allowed Thorin one last chance, a third charisma roll, to be able to talk his way out of it, being like, sorry, I didn't, he was basically saying, I didn't mean to offend you, I didn't even know what the source was about, whatever, and I gave him just a standard. All these tests were just DC 12 normal tests, and unfortunately their dice was against them, and that's it. So that's it. The fight is on with an extreme amount of Howlers. You're pretty much thinking it's going to be a TPK. Will it not? You can find out. The link will be put on the screen. Okay, everybody, the next session is right here on the screen. If you just want to go ahead and click that, you can see what happens to our heroes. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, it'd mean a lot if you could hit that like button so we could share to more people who also love Shadowdark. And comment, subscribe, share with your friends who love the game as well. That'd be sweet. And as always, stay in the light.